This is part of downtown Atchison, Kansas. This is about halfway through today's trip, and I stopped for lunch and a break and to get the GoPro installed on the right side of the helmet. So we'll see how this works. I also put the microphone in helmet, so we'll see how that works. Atchison, Topeka, and the Santa Fe. Excuse me. Looking for a place to gas up. And then we'll head west on 59. West and then start heading north, home to Lincoln. I hope this is recording. It'll be very interesting to see how noisy or quiet this Shoei GT Air is. If I have the microphone placed in a good spot. GoPro looks like from the side of the helmet rather than from the top. Left the top mount on in case I want to go back to it. I may have to turn around and go back for gas. There were 250 Phillips 66 stations right on this highway coming into town on the other side, east side of town, within a block of each other. One on one side of the street, one on the other. Crazy. Very windy day today. 20 to 30 miles per hour out of the south. So a lot of my trip to date has been crosswind or headwind. Going home, I'll share crosswind from the other direction and the tailwind. Well, maybe we'll have some luck here. I don't know. Here's a station. Name brand. I prefer Phillips 66 or Casey's. I'm sure I'll have to play around with the microphone placement in the helmet, and I didn't really install it permanently by taking out the cheek pad and getting the wire underneath the cheek pad. Just kind of temporary in there right now. People were watching me as I sat at McDonald's and had my meal. Gosh, I haven't eaten in a McDonald's forever. I would prefer to run up, but saw none. Well, let me see. I've got 40 miles. Except I didn't zip up my jacket. And I didn't go potty. lots of railroad stuff adjacent to Topeka and to Santa Fe. Back in Kansas, I spent, I don't know, probably 30, 40 miles in Missouri. Down through Falls City, Nebraska, which is just north of the Kansas border. And rode in Kansas into Missouri onto the western outskirts of St. Joe, although I really didn't make it into that town. Went along the western bluffs of the Missouri River Valley. Pretty drive. I said western, I meant eastern, because you could look across the valley and see the western bluffs. Time the Missouri was pretty wide. Back in its heyday. Let's see, if I take this back. Yeah. It's between 60 and 65 degrees. I don't have the liner zipped up front nor the riding jacket, which I really should have to make sure the armor would be in the right location should I go down for some reason. But it isn't cold behind the windscreen. It's nice. Cargill grain elevator. I've got an iPod Touch with the GoPro app on it, so I can connect via Wi-Fi and set my camera view using the screen of the iPod Touch. Got a GoPro Hero 3 Plus Black that one of my younger brothers had purchased and really wasn't using it. He sold it to me for a very good price, and I am grateful. Beautiful countryside, rolling hills. The farmland has all been prepared for winter. This is Sunday the 15th of November. When I left Lincoln, it was 44 degrees or so. Wind chill was low 40s, high 30s, but I layered up. Wore my lighter weight winter gloves and they worked just fine. And that was cool, but not uncomfortably so. And you can get going on these motorcycles. It's just a great experience, as I know most of you folks watching already know. I've got a 2007 Yamaha V-Star 1100 Silverado model. 100,000 miles on it. It was very well cared for. And it's been a great bike. Got my tank bag on, and one of the bad things when you have the tank bag, it covers up the speedometer and the trip meter. So I have this free app for my Windows phone that I've got mounted on a RAM mount on the front handlebar. So it uses GPS signals to give me my speed, and it's got 2 trip meters on it, so I can do in between gas stops and then one for the total trip. Digital display plus an analog display of speed. Signals you when you're exceeding the speed limit. You can turn that on or off. The tank bag, I've got a printed map of today's route, and then I hand wrote the intersections where I need to change highways at junctions. I've got a GPS. It's not a motorcycle GPS. It's a pretty decent one. Nice size screen, 6-inch screen diagonally. It's a TomTom. But the X-Grip RAM mount that I have isn't quite big enough for it. So I'm going to have to, let's see, I want to get 73 is my next junction. I'm not sure if it's 73 north or 73 west, but that's what we want. Deadline I'm facing is sunset, which is like 5:10 in Lincoln, back home. There's probably no threats of rain, either here locally or anywhere along the travels home. So I don't really need to have my flip-down sun visor down. Late fall, Kansas. Wind's coming from left to right. The GoPro's mounted on the right side of my helmet, so I'm not noticing nearly as much wind noise as I did when I had it mounted up top. The X screen on top of the bike's windscreen, the wind kind of hits me right at the top of the helmet, which is really okay, because then it goes through the top vent and out the back vent, keeping the top of my skull cool. Microphone is working, and I'm not just blabbering to myself for no good reason, even though this is just an experiment at this point. Let's see if all the connections work. I really wish that you could both plug in the GoPro to an on-bike electrical source and have an in-helmet mic, but they use the same port on the GoPro. Well, I have it in the frame mount, or the frame as long as it doesn't rain, which isn't supposed to. Well, I think